And what's going up, guys? It's your hostess with the mostest anomaly power coming back at it with another mind theory for your mind. And as I speed off of a planet that does not celebrate Halloween because we're not dealing with that noise, so heading back to Earth for one night only and then back out onto the mission. So I thought I would pop on, spread the satellite signal, hope Earth picks this up. Hopefully, you guys get it on the same day. If you don't, then it's not my fault. Blame space debris. I'm pretty sure there weren't any ice storms, but don't quote me on that. Right now, we're kicking around in our ship. We're learning things, and I want to talk to you guys about some creatures. So, as your favorite Living Dead girl, I am in between the dead and alive. Sometimes I like to be alive, sometimes I like to be dead. What does that mean? There is a force of interaction that comes down to all of us. And if you live in any form of isolation, you will understand this quicker than most. So, in the very theme of such a thing, first we'll talk about vampires. Now, recently I was looking at, now you'll have to recheck it yourself because I had to catch myself up. So one of the best, one of the best vampire, you know, culture films, I think, that have definitely been lost to the dash of time because, well, this vampire was sexy, but he only spoke one sentence, which I gotta say, a man who's tall, strong, sexy, and takes care of everyone and doesn't speak much, well, let's just say he was a man of his time. So, unlike the men of Twilight who endlessly talk and don't seem to take care of much else, but um, it was John Carpenter's Vampires. Now, for anyone who's seen John Carpenter's Vampires, you know this was a terrifying film, depending on the range that you saw it in. Now, of course, I saw it maybe 5, 10 years later. Do not judge me. When you see the film is when you see it. Um, but what I'd say is I overlooked it the past few days. Oh, classic. I think I still want to cry at the end when he decides, and it's not like I should do spoiler alerts, right? So it's like at the end where the last Slayer, he got bit, he's gonna turn, and he was like, I've been bit for 2 days and I still helped you out, right? Now, but one of the rules is you never leave a fellow Slayer alive as a vampire. So he told him, but I gotta kill you. And then he said about the 2 day thing, and he's like, okay, so I owe you 2 days. So I'll give you 2 days, and then I'm gonna start hunting you. And I'm gonna kill you and her. And I don't remember the scene being that dark. I swear I thought this was more of like a comedy. It was so heavy. I was like, oh, and then when they did a hug, I was like, no, is he gonna like stab him in the chest? No, they did like a hug and said goodbye because it's like real stuff. Like they still remember about like the pain. This is what I love about creature films. Now, you get to hide yourself inside of, monsters and gory scenes and things that would never happen, but at the core of them, there's always the human story. And that's what I love about creature films. It's the human part. Who do you live through when you watch the movie? So for us, he tells his story, which when I watched it, I guess maybe I was just so young, I don't remember all the details, but so his father got bit, right? That's probably why he made up that rule of as soon as you get bit, which is similar to zombies. When you get bit and you know you're about to start turning, you have 5 days to turn into a vampire. This is for their lore. I think a lot of other vampire films have done seconds, minutes, hours. They didn't really do days, which does make it sound more biological, even though they went in a demonic spirit angle. A lot of these make sense, but like some of films, they go scientific, sometimes they go spiritual, magical, all kinds of areas. I, of course, would love if they added more of the scientific part. Like, there was a film with, I want to say, Ethan Hawke. Do not quote me if it was not Ethan Hawke, but there was a film called um, Dying Light, something. That's a video game, but okay. So there was a movie he was in where all the vampires took over, right? William Defoe is in it. So if you're listening to this and you're like, oh, that, and you're saying the name of it, I can't hear you, but I know one of you know. Anyway, so William Defoe is in it as the first vampire that went from human to vampire back to human. And you have to do this thing where, you're in the sunlight and it burns you and they bring you back to life. It's a whole thing. Go watch it, Google it, find it out. Um, but it's these creature stories that always give you the human background. So it's always the human story that we want. So John Carpenter's Vampire is the first one he ever made, and also the last one that ever made money is for some reason something they like to say. But he's made plenty of stuff after that. But I think that this one was the only one that was like a straight to he made big box office type stuff, which maybe, in the long run, I'm starting to learn that's because he's good. It's like if you're really good, you seem to not make it that far anymore from those times. Maybe you could get on now, but if you got on from then and then there's that in between hiatus, you might have a chance now. There's like there are cycles to everything. So there's a season when you're really good. This is something else I'm going to go into. So you know how we do. We're water. We're flowing into all of these areas, and you keep up because, well, my crowd of followers are highly intelligent. So I don't have to talk down to you. The average person has like a sixth grade reading capability. I saw, not my followers. The people who follow me are highly intelligent, and they they read at college levels. So some things I just don't explain. I don't have to really elaborate on. They understand it quicker than I do. That's me snapping, sorry. But they understand it quickly in a snap. Makes it easier on me dealing with intelligent people as well, because stupid people usually are really mean to me. So I'm okay with that. So look, so in the John Carpenter vampires, this man is turned into a vampire by the Catholic Church. I'm Orthodox, so I don't mind all of the flaming that is about to happen to the Catholic Church through this. One of the priests says he fears death, so he's not a true priest or a true believer. So he's already, going to hell probably. So he should probably try to become a vampire. He should probably try his hardest to stay alive because when he dies, whew, it's gonna be hot. Um, so he set them up, and then he asked him, "Why did the vampire know my name?" And he gave him a look. He was trying to saying, "Oh, I don't know. How could he? A vampire's never even spoke before." Which this is the thing for people of modern vampires, that almost sounds odd. All of these vampire films, they're all interview with a vampire. He's running his mouth. All they talk so much. They don't shut up. And not to throw any of our favorite vampire movies under the bus. All I love our vampires. It's fun, but they do talk a lot. The mystery is gone. They are more focused on just being like sexy, and it's just kind of like, why do you have to be sexy if you murder people? You know, you're drinking blood. It's kind of like when you're not vegan. Okay. Shots fired. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I know most of my followers are not vegan. But for that little group of you guys that are like from Denmark or something like that, you might be. Because I know a few of us are kind of creeping around in there. I see you, Oslo. Um, oh, actually, speaking of that, I wanted to say greetings to some of our new, or not new, but like I've had some people or some areas that show up at like 1%, 2%, So when they show up and they're like, boom, 4% or something like that, I like to kind of say a hello and I try to say your little town or whatever. Maybe you've never even heard of these films. So I also like to do that kind of understanding as well. So like I said, I do want to have some of the names, of course, and maybe I will fall short, and that's okay. So Finland, you're new. So Finland proper. I didn't know that was a thing, but yeah, you guys were like up, and then Northern Ostrobothnia. You're don't get mad at me. Usama and Travestia proper. Hi guys, how are you? I don't know where any of that is. I mean, yeah, I could like pop it into Google or whatever, but like that's kind of cool. Okay, Oslo County, Inlandet, beautiful borderland. It's a land of horrors. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. I'm sure you're very sweet people. Um, Sweden. Yeah, we got Stockholm. I know about that, guys. Trust me. And Norrbotten. I had Stockholm syndrome for about 14 years. We're not going to talk about that. Belgium, France, Ukraine, Netherlands, hey, Russia. I'm in Moscow, guys. I'm in Moscow. Привет! Как дела? I am 100% in Moscow. You guys are listening to me in Moscow? I mean, that's so, like that's so cool. I really love this, and I appreciate everyone who's listening and tuning in. Welcome. Have a seat, grab a tea, grab a coffee, or a shot of vodka, and the best pickles ever. I also like Polish pickles, so you guys are gonna have to battle for me on that one. German, Polish, Russian, best pickles, hands down, and bread, and noodles. Okay, well, I could just all the stuff that I can have as a vegan that I can't have in the Americas, I can have in those countries. And it's because they don't put milk and egg in everything that they make, which is why it's a glorious thing. I do miss it. I can't wait to go to St. Petersburg and try bread and pickles. Everyone's coming there for some reason, right? I want bread and pickles. Don't judge me. Um, Uspokojся, you know. Um, So, look, that's Russian. Sorry, I'm gonna dip in and out of the languages. I know my most sayings are gonna be in Russian, Ruski, or they'll be in, I mean, I got a little bit, I might throw a few things at you, so I'll surprise you guys. But that's why I like vampire culture creatures. Vampire culture went from mysterious, scary, all the way from Nosferatu with long hands. He never spoke. Maybe, we could hear the bravado aura, right? He had this kind of, I don't know, it's something, it's alluring and terrifying, which my women understand that. And I got 1% of you guys, you get what I'm saying? I know most of my followers are men, so this might but you understand Aura because you're in a young group. I think it's 22 to 35 is the group that's listening to me mostly. I have some, and I have a little bit of you in all the areas. So if that's not you, then you're the 4% that's higher, or you're the 8% that's lower. Hi, love all the age groups. However many times you've been around the sun or in the solar system, we appreciate. I'll have to teach you guys more about Martian ways, and this is the Martian way of viewing Earth. We view Earth as north and south. So you're northern Earth or southern Earth, and then we have people who, you're either born on Earth and then you move over to Mars, or you're born on Mars, you move back to Earth, or you live on the habitat. And the habitat orbits Mars. And that's kind of middle class, I guess, if you want to think about it in like Earth terms, American Earth terms. So, your basic blue collar person is on the habitat. It costs a little bit more to live on the planet, but you get to have a little bit of extra gravity, I guess, and feel better than people. And you also deal with tourism because most of the Earth tourism, they just go straight to Mars. They don't even care about the habitat. So, if anything, they talk about us. So, yeah, that's the part where I'm from. So, I wasn't a millionaire on Mars. I was blue collar on the habitat, just like everyone else, basic scientist, doing my work. And it got dystopian, a little dark. Laws were getting changed and edited. Sound familiar? I decided to leave, and but now in my journeys, I found all these different home planets and all these different civilizations, and I want to talk to you guys about it. And I've come up with some ideas of some things I think could help Earth, and that's what we're going to focus on. But it comes from a place of everything. So even a creature film can be connected to the future of Earth. Isn't that fascinating? So after the ending of that John Carpenter film, so he lets his friend leave with the other girl who turned into a vampire. I don't know if he's really gonna track them down. So I guess in my mind, I want them to make it, but I guess they're vampires, so they should be killed. But it's just like that's his friend. And it's just, yeah, that's that sensitive part. And they're like, well, I wouldn't want that job, you know? But yeah, so we gotta kill him. But they didn't put it in the movie. That's the part that I like. Leave it open. Maybe they thought they were gonna get a part two. You never know. And what about Padre in there? First he was like, oh, I've never seen a vampire. I don't know what to do. And then the next minute he's like, don't move, you're a vampire. He blew somebody's chest open. And it was so funny because he was, or not funny, but he was like, Padre. I mean, it saved his life, but he's like, wow, you become so violent. Oh my God. You're like, you got a shotgun and everything. Before, he couldn't even talk about what it would take to kill a vampire. And now he's just like, you know, got the shotgun ringed up and he's ready. What I love about a character like that is that they show us the development of what happens over a character's or a person. And also, just for me, I always bring it back to just humanity. It will take you to where you start, all the way down this journey you've been through. And I've been on a similar journey as well. So I think we all have. We all go on some similar journey. Nobody gets it like in a good way. Or even if you think they have a great way, there's some story there. Everyone has a story. And which the way of more I've been understanding that is not the way that I thought before. I just thought it was like, oh, well, you have an origin story, where you came from, and what happened, or all these different things. It's a full narrative. So you figure out what's the narrative that you set for your life. And that's what I love about the creature films. Now we have other ones that I really love, like zombie movies. Now zombies, like I'm actually been watching the new Walking Dead spinoff, the Daryl Dixon show. By the way, can they let him have a girlfriend for 2 episodes? He just got a kiss. Can he get a little, you know, I mean, I guess it's fine, but it's like you want to see a character fall in love and like, be loved. We want to see him experience romantic love. And I think we got to see it for like a few seconds when they kissed, and then I knew she was gonna die. It's like, can they stop killing the women so the men have an arc? It's just like the woman doesn't have to die. Like, could she have lost her arm or something? Like, not that that would have been better, but like, if something crazy has to happen to the woman just so they can push the male character forward, can she just go through something light, like, lose an eye, or, like they did to the governor? He lost an eye. He gets to come back with a whole other family, get a plot of revenge. I swear, every woman just that falls for Daryl, that first wild one, she was in the original series. He had to end up shooting her in the head. She went crazy, I guess. Well, she joined the wrong side. And then this one, well, she got stabbed in the stomach, so she couldn't live or whatever. It was just like, you know, so it's difficult, and it puts you in this emotional feeling when you're supposed to be thinking just about the violence of the show and how they got away from like burning, melting zombies or something. But it seems like, or what I like about the show is the zombies are the background of the character development. They are there just like any beast that would be in the forest. They're a danger, but your humans are more of a threat, which has always been the appeal to me. The humanity, the difficult decisions, what it takes to be in and out of this kind of mindset of, you know, it's mine or you're taken from me or this kind of process, which just makes it a very fascinating genre. And we definitely need more films to like flush all of that out. There's so many different areas that it could go in. Like even in a comedy, like Warm Bodies, the idea of like a zombie coming back to life, how would that be treated? Or Cured, it's actually a really good one. I think, again, maybe it's Irish, British film, um, Norwegian. You guys will be like, what? I've seen so many of these movies from all around the world. Some of them melt together, but in a beautiful collage. But if I ever want to break down anything, I can always go and get the names for you, and we'll go further into it. I just wanted to hop on real quick today and kind of talk to you guys about scary creatures, goblins and ghouls, and have a fun little Halloween talk. For right now, though, I'm gonna check back in with you guys. You know, I gotta finish working on my engine. There's just something about being the only engineer on this big of a ship. Like, you guys think I'm rolling around in a little clunker. My ship is half the size of the Empire State Building. So, with all my robot force and just me, it takes a lot to keep this baby running. And I set a transmission to you guys. I broadcast it. Earth will pick it up, and you guys will get it within a good time frame, I believe. I don't exactly know when you'll get this, but I sent this out maybe a month ago, so it should get to Earth on Halloween. If it doesn't, please forgive your favorite Martian girl, Anomalycyra. Happy Halloween, everybody! Bye.